Last night's episode of The View witnessed an unprecedented moment when Steve Martin declared, "I'm done with this show," and walked off set after Whoopi Goldberg accused him of hoarding cultural space and suggested his continued presence in entertainment was an act of selfishness against emerging artists. The comedy legend didn't just defend himself. He delivered a masterclass in quiet dignity that exposed Whoopi's hypocrisy about gatekeeping, while she herself has occupied the same chair for decades. But what started as promotion for Martin's new charity initiative would reveal something darker about how The View determines who deserves to exist in public spaces. The ABC studios carried strange tension from the moment Martin arrived. The 79-year-old comedian was there to discuss his program funding arts education in underserved communities, but Whoopi had prepared something entirely different. A production assistant later revealed that Whoopi had specifically instructed producers to make him confront his privilege and get him to admit he's blocking opportunities. The warm-up coordinator had been telling the audience about old guard entertainers who won't step aside and the responsibility of knowing when to quit. Multiple staffers expressed discomfort with the planned confrontation, with one veteran producer reportedly telling Whoopi, "Steve Martin has done more for young artists than anyone," only to be dismissed with, "That's just guilt money from a guilty conscience." Therefore, when the cameras rolled, Martin was walking into a carefully orchestrated attack on his very existence in entertainment. The show opened with standard hot topics, but Whoopi made several pointed comments about entertainers who treat their careers like lifetime appointments and the selfishness of staying past your prime. Martin waited backstage with his characteristic calm, quietly practicing his banjo, seemingly oblivious to the storm brewing. His publicist would later reveal that Martin had actually sensed the hostile intent but chose to appear anyway, saying, "Sometimes you have to face unfairness directly to expose it." When Whoopi finally announced, "Please welcome Steve Martin," he walked out with his gentle demeanor intact, his white suit and silver hair giving him an almost angelic appearance against the show's harsh lighting. "Steve, welcome to The View." Whoopi began with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Still working at 79. Don't you think that's a bit selfish?" The accusation was immediate and shocking. Martin's eyebrows raised slightly, but his voice remained calm. "Selfish? I'm curious how creating art and funding education is selfish," he said mildly. "You're taking opportunities from younger, more diverse voices. Every role you take, every project you do, that's one less chance for someone who needs it," Whoopi pressed. "I see. And how long have you been in this chair, Whoopi?" Martin asked gently. "That's different," she said quickly. "Is it? You're suggesting I should stop working because of my age. You've been here 17 years. By your logic, shouldn't you step aside for someone younger, more in touch with current culture?" Martin observed. Therefore, the trap was sprung immediately. The other hosts shifted uncomfortably. Sunny Hostin tried to support Whoopi. "Steve, the issue is about representation," she said. "No, the issue is about selective discrimination. You're suggesting I should stop existing professionally because you've decided I've had enough time. Who made you the arbiter of enough?" Martin replied. He stood up slowly, his movement deliberate but peaceful. "You know what's interesting, Whoopi? You've won an EGOT. You've had legendary success. Yet you're still here, still working, still taking this seat that could go to someone else. Why is your continued presence acceptable, but mine isn't?" he asked. "I'm providing representation," Whoopi claimed defensively. "You're providing your opinion 5 days a week. I'm funding arts programs for thousands of kids. Which one of us is actually creating opportunities?" Martin asked. But then he revealed something that shifted everything. "Do you know how many young comedians I've mentored? How many writers I've trained? How many artists I've funded? Over 300. How many have you mentored from this chair?" he said. Whoopi couldn't answer. The silence stretched painfully. But Martin wasn't finished with his gentle destruction. "You sit here judging who deserves to work based on demographics and age. That's not progressivism. That's discrimination with a different target," he said. "You don't understand the struggle," Whoopi began. "I understand that telling anyone they should stop working because of immutable characteristics is wrong. Period. Whether it's race, gender, or age. You've just decided some discrimination is acceptable, Martin interrupted softly. He turned to the audience. And this is where something important happens. If you're watching and you've been told you're too old, too young, too anything to pursue your dreams, don't believe it. Art has no expiration date. Creativity has no demographic requirements. Share this message if you believe everyone deserves to create. Comment your support for artists of all ages and backgrounds. Like this video to spread awareness that no one should be told to disappear because someone else decided they've had enough time. Your engagement might encourage someone who's been told they don't deserve to exist in their profession anymore, he said directly to the camera. The audience response was immediate and powerful. Most stood and applauded. Many were visibly moved. But Whoopi, feeling her authority challenged, made things worse. You're just another old white man who can't accept that times have changed, she said with undisguised contempt. Martin turned to her with genuine sadness in his eyes. And you're just another gatekeeper deciding who deserves to exist. The only difference is you think your gatekeeping is righteous, he said. How dare you? Whoopi began to stand. How dare I what? Point out your hypocrisy? Note that you demand others step aside while keeping your own position? Observe that you preach inclusion while practicing exclusion. Martin asked. He walked closer to her position. You know what breaks my heart? You faced discrimination. You fought for your place. And now you're discriminating against others, demanding they give up their place. You've become what you fought against, he said. Get out, Whoopi said, her voice shaking with rage. No, I'm done with this show, but I'm leaving on my terms, not yours, Martin said firmly. The shift from gentle to firm was powerful. Martin had never raised his voice, but his authority was absolute. He looked at each host in turn. Joy, you've been here 27 years. Sarah, you're young and talented. Sunny, you have important perspectives. Alyssa, you're finding your voice. But none of you, have the right to tell anyone they should stop creating because of their age, race, or any other characteristic, he said. Security, Whoopi called out. Don't bother. I'm leaving. But first, let me be clear about what just happened here, Martin said, raising his hand to stop the approaching guards. He faced the camera directly. This show just told a 79-year-old man who funds arts education, mentors young artists, and still creates original work that he should disappear because of his age and race. That's not progressive. That's not inclusive. That's discrimination, plain and simple, he said. You're twisting everything, Whoopi protested. I'm repeating exactly what you said. You said I should step aside because I'm old and white. Imagine if someone said anyone should step aside because they're young and black. You'd rightfully call it discrimination. But somehow when it's directed at me, it's justice? Martin asked. The logic was undeniable. The audience saw it clearly. Many had stopped applauding and were now looking at Whoopi with disappointment. But Martin had one final point. You want to know the real irony? My new project specifically funds programs for diverse young artists. I'm literally creating the opportunities you claim I'm blocking. But you didn't ask about that. You just saw my age and race and decided I should disappear, he said. He headed for the exit, then stopped one last time. I'm done with this show. Not because you challenged me, but because you've revealed yourself. You don't want equality. You want revenge. You don't want inclusion. You want replacement. And you've confused discrimination with justice, he said. He walked off to thunderous applause. The entire audience rose. Many chanted, Steve. Steve. The show couldn't continue normally. Within minutes, #MartinExposesWhoopi was trending globally. The clip of him refusing to accept age discrimination went viral instantly. Artists of all ages rallied behind him, sharing stories of being told they were too old or too young. But the real impact came from the revelation about his charity work. People discovered that Martin had quietly funded more diverse artists than almost anyone in entertainment. The contrast with Whoopi's empty accusations was stark. The View returned from commercial without Whoopi. Joy awkwardly explained she was indisposed. But everyone knew she'd been devastated by Martin's calm logic and couldn't face the audience. The next day brought severe consequences. Age discrimination lawyers contacted ABC about potential lawsuits. Sponsors concerned with older demographics withdrew support. The show faced accusations of promoting ageism. Martin released a simple statement: art belongs to everyone. No one should be told to stop creating because of who they are. We fight discrimination by ending it, not by redirecting it. The statement went viral, becoming a rallying cry for artists facing discrimination from any direction. It sparked conversations about whether progressive movements had become discriminatory themselves. Whoopi attempted to address it the next day, but her response made things worse. She claimed Martin had misunderstood, while also insisting some people have had their time. The contradiction confirmed Martin's point perfectly. The incident became known as the Martin Doctrine, that discrimination is wrong regardless of its target. It became a definitive moment in discussions about reverse discrimination and ageism. Years later, The View would never fully recover from the incident. They'd been exposed as practicing the very discrimination they claimed to oppose, just with different targets. But that night, all anyone saw was Steve Martin refusing to be erased because of his age and race, refusing to accept that his contributions were less valid because of his demographics, refusing to let discrimination hide behind progressive language. He'd walked off the show on his own terms, leaving Whoopi exposed as someone who'd fought discrimination only to practice it herself. The security guards never touched him. He left with the dignity of someone who'd spoken truth to hypocrisy. That dignity became the lasting image. Steve Martin, walking away after exposing discrimination, while Whoopi Goldberg sat behind her desk, revealed as someone who'd become the very thing she'd spent a career fighting against. The empty chair he left represented everyone told they should disappear because of who they are. It stood for the principle that discrimination is always wrong, regardless of its direction or justification. And Whoopi, who demanded he step aside while keeping her own position for 17 years, was exposed as the ultimate hypocrite, preaching inclusion while practicing exclusion, demanding others leave while refusing to go herself. Everyone watching understood that true progress meant ending discrimination, not redirecting it. And Steve Martin, at 79, had shown more progressive values by refusing discrimination than The View had shown by promoting it.